Hello.
Hi.
Do you remember our conversation the other day?
No. What about?
Whether or not Afghanistan is a lost cause.
Oh yes. We came to the conclusion that this is a necessary conflict.
Well, then, I must beg to differ.
How do you figure?
If you take into account the progress that we have made in this war, it would make a victory seem futile.
How can you come to that stupid conclusion?
First and foremost, you have to look at the toll on human life due to this conflict.
Of course. 2,259 coalition forces have given their lives to promote democracy in that nation.
Yes. Our servicemen, as well as other coalition forces, have taken great risks. But you also must realize that U.S. soldiers are in the gravest of danger in Afghanistan.
Unless you are anti-American, we must honor our troops for that.
Of course we must honor our troops. But I must also note that innocent Afghan civilians have been killed in the tens of thousands by the Taliban.
Which is why we must stop them.
As well as foreign coalition forces in the United States.
You have to admit that collateral damage is a reality of war, unless you are dumb and naive.
On top of the violence, we must also look at the cost. Remember, the United States is facing a $14 trillion deficit and we are borrowing 40 cents of every dollar spent. I think it is important to weigh out the risks of sustaining this war.
Risks? Do you not remember the purpose of this war?
What? To flush out Al-Qaeda and secure international harmony in the region as we punish those that were responsible for the terror attacks on 9/11.
Of course. And bring democracy to the Afghan people, as well as rescue them from the oppressive Taliban regime.
Okay, but the war is approaching its 10th year and sectarian violence has increased.
But the recent surge of U.S. troops and NATO forces have helped with great strides in the region.
But at what cost?
Cost?
Yes. Do you have any idea how much this war is costing us financially?
Well, damn.
Well, the United States spent $104 billion last year, and according to the CBO that number is expected to rise to $119 billion this year. From now till 2014, we would have spent nearly $1 trillion.
But how can you simplify what we are doing down to just the financial costs?
I am not. The toll it is taking on our servicemen is burdensome, and not to mention the increased violence on the Afghan people.
I understand the great sacrifice they are making. But damn, you have to understand that most of the violence from the Taliban has been focused within 3 provinces.
But yet, according to the U.S. State Department and the UN, Taliban forces still control nearly 80% of the country.
And do not forget that we have driven out most of Al-Qaeda out of the region.
Yeah, directly into surrounding territories, such as Yemen and Pakistan.
So what do you propose? We invade those areas too?
No.
Should we have further troop surges and finalize this war?
No.
Are you implying that it may be better to have a long-term investment and stay in Afghanistan?
No.
Then do we just instantly pull out of Afghanistan?
No. Pulling out does not always work.
Genius. You made it funny.
Hey.
I think that you are misunderstanding the efforts we are taking in this war.
How so?
Public opinion polls show that the majority of the Afghan people support NATO forces and U.S. troops. Over 68% of the Afghan civilians approve of what we have been doing.
According to who?
Well, BBC, Pew Global Attitudes, CNN, and major polls that even you trust.
Yes. You are right. But that 68% is down from the 81% back in 2005.
That sounds illogical. The majority still support the effort.
Okay, but what about international support? And the opinions among Americans? Even Fox News reports that American opposition to the war is at an all-time high.
That is only because of President Obama's handling of the recent surge. He does not understand foreign policy very well.
The poll numbers of the president's handling of the war has remained steady, even among Republicans. And that is in contrast to the previous President Bush.
Yes, well.
And let us not forget that public opinion polls in Afghanistan have been taken among densely populated urban areas.
So?
People in these areas are more affluent and have more to gain from U.S. occupation, unlike the rural.
I still think that you are trivializing what we have been doing over there.
You mean the $50 billion we spend in aid relief?
Are you daft? Yes.
Okay.
Less than 10% support the Taliban. Most do not want to return to a regime that has rampant human rights violations and banning your gender from equal civil rights and education.
Okay.
Think about the humanitarian efforts.
Okay.
NATO presence has increased the availability of health care from 9% to 85%.
Okay.
A 50% increase in agriculture and crop yield due to micromanagement. You cannot argue against the quality of life increase due to our occupation.
Okay, I see where this is going. Life expectancy in Afghanistan was 44 years of age. 1 in 5 children die before their 6th birthday. Access to electricity is less 10% for the Afghan people.
See, so there has been many successes.
Yes, but this is a country ripped apart by war.
So what is it that we need to do over there?
We need to keep these successes and end the conflict in the other parts of the country.
But won't the Taliban just take over?
Not if we focus on what has been working and find a timely exit as we transfer power to the Afghan security forces and the Karzai government. This in turn may increase opposition completely against the Taliban.
I am not so sure. I see any exit in the near future as a repeat of what happened in the 70s with the Soviet forces.
That is why we should not repeat the same mistakes by keeping this as an ongoing conflict.
It seems to me that you are just a tree-hugging liberal that wants to hold hands with an enemy that wants to kill us.
Okay, that was really mature.
Your anti-conflict peace ideal is only going to allow Muslim extremism to populate the globe.
Well, your realistic nature is going to
ensure that the United States remains a strong democratic light to the rest of the world.
Just when I thought that we could have a civil conversation.
Maybe you should use more intelligent logic.
Maybe you should use.
Why do so many liberals live in LA anyways?
What?
Why do so many liberals live in LA? Because it is easy enough for them to spell.
Okay, not funny. I will be seeing you later.